Welcome back. I'm Sal Buscemi, and in this first part of our 5-minute fundamentals mini-series on commercial deal structuring secrets, we're going to discuss how you can assist a qualified commercial operator who has lots of equity but no access or understanding of how commercial real estate capital works. In this video, we talk about how you can assist or work with professional commercial investors close the gaps on their funding needs when they're acquiring a real estate asset. You'll see firsthand a real-life scenario where gaps must be closed in order to close a deal. This often involves creatively using debt or equity from your capital provider or seller. Does this sound interesting to you? Great, so let's get right to the whiteboard right now. Okay, welcome back. Let's jump right into it. We're going to get into our deal structuring techniques, and this is deal structuring technique number 1 that we're going to talk about, and it has to do with free and clear properties. Now, you might think that there's not a lot of free and clear properties out there, but there actually are. There's a lot of foreign buyers that come in and buy properties for cash all day long, and actually they've been doing that for the past few years. So you're going to see a lot of opportunities where a lot of that money might have to go somewhere else, might have to go back to the motherland. So, especially in some of your gateway cities like San Francisco, New York City, Miami, you're starting to see a lot of people buying things for cash. Now, that's happening also throughout the country. However, how are we going to deal with these situations? What are you going to do when you come against an opportunity where there's a free and clear property that has a definable exit strategy and it has a definable key event? So let's get into it. This is what we call free and clear properties. It's basically some sort of a, how are you going to get equity out of this deal? This is real deal junkie gamesmanship 101 here that we're starting with. So for this strategy, for the suggested uses, we're talking about deals that need short-term cash. This short-term cash could be for the uses to bring it into its highest and best use or to do some sort of a quick key event. For this example, we're going to be talking about a hotel that is not flagged. It's a regular mom and pop. If you've ever seen that show, Hotel Impossible, they're converting that into something that's coming across as being more of a Marriott under a flag of perhaps a Ramada Inn, a Quality Inn, you know the names, perhaps even a Hyatt, for example, or a Hilton. Anyway, so this is what's happening. Somebody comes to you and said, hey, I need money short term. Of course, you're going to go to your capital partner, but first you're going to go through everything and you're going to really feel it out to see if this is something that's worthwhile. So what we're looking here is, what's the key event that's going to happen and how fast is it going to happen? Well, I need $2 million to do the renovations to bring it up into what we would call a flagged hotel for this particular transaction. And that's great. Maybe they have a letter of intent from Ramada or from Hilton or from Hyatt, whatever. It doesn't matter. How it's structured, usually what happens is that every loan that's placed or created for each one of these types of properties, or in commercial real estate in general, is placed into an SPE, and that is what we call a bankruptcy remote limited liability company. And that SPE is now the owner of that piece of property. And so what you have to negotiate are your equity interests in that deal. And that's where the good gamesmanship strategies that we show you really come into play here. What we would do then is that we would provide a bridge loan to that SPE that holds the asset, making sure that the proceeds of that loan are used so that we can bring that property up to its highest and best use in order to execute, you get it, the key event so that it becomes flagged. Okay? And then you get to collect equity, your equity slug and free cash flow, because you're now a current owner of this property, you're a partial owner of this particular property. You have what we call in the industry hope certificates in a hotel. And actually in the webinar, you'll hear from some of our students themselves as they talk about some of the opportunities that they have put together, using these strategies out of our playbook. So let's say this is a hotel here. Its as-is value is $2 million. They need another $2 million in there. It's free and clear. The terminal value of that's going to be $10 million. Say you go up to Mr. Owner and say, hey, I will give you 25% of this upon funding of this deal if I can buy it from you, using the proceeds of that debt to make sure that it's brought up to its highest and best use. And then this way, I'm going to be able to cash you out at a higher basis, at a higher price. Do you think that's a good idea, Mr. Seller? He's going to say, of course it is, especially if he knows what he's doing. Remember, just because somebody owns commercial real estate doesn't necessarily mean that they actually understand commercial real estate finance. Those two are mutually exclusive and they don't go hand in hand. And that's where your value proposition comes in. The income streams that come in off of this are points up front. If you're coming from a capital partner, from an institution such as a bridge lending source, then what you're going to see is that you're going to be able to get points off of that deal going into it. You're also maybe going to be able to get interest rate spread. For example, if a bridge lender is only charging 6%, you might be able to charge 6.25%, 6.5%. And that 50 basis points or 25 basis points is actually passed along to you, which is great. And also you're going to have equity in the deal too. This is how real wealth creation is made in commercial real estate, especially distressed commercial real estate. The style here I would say is mildly aggressive, is not that aggressive. It's kind of mild compared to some of the other strategies we'll be talking about when we go further on these video series. And the best asset classes that you're going to want to do this on are going to be, for example, hotels, because that's easy because that's a very quick key event. Some longer term key event deals that you're going to look at or property classes are going to be perhaps land that's raw, zoned, but the best one will be fully entitled. You want to stay away from the raw land because there's a lot of risk there, and it takes a lot of time to get that land platted and brought up to its highest and best use. So I hope you learned something from this. I know a lot of these strategies have been kind of basic and simple so far. However, we're getting into the advanced stuff on the webinar. But in this series, it's going to delineate and clear any doubt that you have as to how you're going to be able to handle each commercial deal as they come across your desk.